did not receive an offer for an interview at any universities. That's right, I'm back. What's going on, No Lifers? No Life Ols here, coming at you with a new exclusive video. Look, I know, right? The world has been at a complete and utter standstill, waiting for a follow-up video of me getting absolutely rejected from medical school. Hashtag RIP, hashtag not alive. However, your boy's been curating a leverageable narrative that can be absolutely used to slide right in to the YouTube algorithm. Please lick and some scoop. Now, but for real, the reason that I held back was because I didn't want to give you an update until everything was set in stone. End up looking like Donald Trump before officially winning the election.
As far as I'm concerned, we already have one.
So where do I begin? After being rejected from medical school, as anyone would, they would reconsider and recontemplate their entire life's work. But, as I suggested in the past, failure is a virtue. Always has been.
Always has been.
It really is an inevitable part of the process, and I truly believe that if you can approach adversity with resilience and you accept the lesson that the world has to offer you, then you will be exponentially better off in the long run. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, the months preceding the initial video of my medical school rejection were not kind to me. I mean, despite the fact that yeah, I have my health and I have my family, that doesn't necessarily always equate to a good mental state. But I guess it is just a product of the ever-changing world that we do live in. I mean, I continue to struggle to find work because of the pandemic. I came out of a 6-year relationship. I mean, productivity dipped to an all-time low as I began to lose sight of why I put in all this work just to get rejected. However, I can acknowledge how lucky and privileged I am to have come all this way. I mean, something that many of us forget as life becomes passive during the grind is that we truly do take our everyday lives for granted. I mean, the relationships with those around us, the moments that are now just memories. We as humans often don't take the time out of our day to reflect on the journey. And so in a desperate need for change, I began to contemplate and reflect upon why I want the things that I desire. I began reading philosophy to get a better understanding of my own emotions, behaviors, and desires, and asking myself, you know, the questions that needed to be asked, particularly when it comes to wanting to study medicine. Was it the money? Was it passion? Was it, or is it the desire to help others? Or was it a dream that I became so fixated upon that I never took the time to reconsider how my experiences have impacted and changed my perspective on what a fulfilling career would entail? Interestingly, I came across a passage which was written by a Stoic philosopher who proposed there are 4 fundamental acknowledgements that one would have to consider in order to live a fulfilling life. They would be that one would, first of all, need to identify the unmet needs in society. Society is full of problems, and although you can't change every problem, it's important to acknowledge the problems that do exist in society. The next thing is to consider what you as an individual are inclined to like or inclined to be good at, right? So if you've identified an unmet need in society, well then really the question is, what can you do about it? What do you enjoy, and in what way can you integrate that into a more fulfilling lifestyle? The third would be to acknowledge the serendipity and the luck to be born in the position that you were born into. And by understanding that serendipity, you would then be able to leverage the position that you were born into in order to create a better world. The fourth being to synthesize the ideas. In essence, by putting into place the first 3 principles, you would then be allowing yourself to make the right decisions, to live a fulfilling life that has purpose and has impact on the world. And now I understand and I can acknowledge that money is an inherent driving force for a lot of people's ambitions. I would even go as far as to say that one of the reasons why I wanted to be a doctor is because you get financially rewarded for committing the amount of time that it takes to become a doctor. However, to put that aside, I do actually believe that money will align itself adequately when you begin to leverage your skills towards your passion. So towards the tail end of 2020, I reconnected with a professor in oncology research who I had gone on an interview with in March of 2020. Interestingly, after being rejected from his lab, he still managed to contact me and let me know that although I didn't get the job that I applied for, that he was willing to make a new position for me in his lab. However, as you could imagine, the pandemic completely ruined that when cancer research labs got reduced to 20% capacity capacity. Despite this, I reconnected with him to get some advice on what I should do. I was at a stage where I was divided on whether or not I wanted to continue to try for medicine or whether or not I would like to complete a PhD. I mean, I was vexed. On one hand, I thought I had a dream that I wanted. On the other hand, it was something available to me that I had immense experience in and I could genuinely say that I thoroughly enjoyed. However, by choosing one over the other, I was aware that the other will have to be forgotten, well, at least in the immediate future. We spent hours conversing about the differences of both careers, and he pointed out a defining feature that has resonated with me to this day. Although the two fields seem synonymous in that they're both in science, the two fields actually diverge, and then at a later stage they reconverge. In other words, it was made clear to me that medicine is simply applied research, and that without research, medicine wouldn't exist. Contrary, that medicine, by nature of its objective to help patients, is actually the driving force for research. So what is the difference? A particular one that was made clear to me by my professor was simply that the practice of medicine prosecutes those who go against anything that has been backed by evidence-based research, while research, on the other hand, rewards those who embrace their creativity. In addition, I was prompted to talk with several clinicians about why they had chosen to go back into research after having completed medicine, all with the same answer: you can't help them all. What I think they meant by this was that there are unmet needs in medicine that limit the doctor's ability to help patients. Of course, there are unique and defining features of being a doctor, such as helping patients on an interpersonal level, building rapport with your patients, and I guess seeing the fruit of your labor. However, it seems there becomes a time when someone who entered medicine to help individuals realizes that there's much more that can be done on a macro scale to change the health of the masses. Having said that, by no means am I suggesting that one field is more impactful than the other, given that, like I said, one cannot exist without the other. I'm just sharing the perspective that I attained from the professors, and I think it would be up to the individual to determine whether or not one is more well suited than the other. For me, it seemed that I was holding on to the idea of pursuing medicine, which was of genuine interest when it came into my mind at the time. However, with perspective and experience, it has become less well suited. Using creativity to push the literature to make impactful changes to the unmet needs in science has always been more well suited to who I've always been. It's weird that despite being unaware of my true desires throughout my academic journey, the world has pushed me in the exact direction required for me to finally pursue what I was always intended to do. And I am truly fortunate and grateful that I've finally found something that I'm genuinely passionate about. So yeah, that's the update. I mean, I've since been accepted into and started my PhD in oncology research through the University of Melbourne, which has afforded me, the ability even to move out of my own house and into the city so that I'm closer to the lab. But yeah, I think the takeaway from this really is that things in your life occur for certain reasons, as cliche as that sounds. But bear in mind that when you go through those troughs, those are the most beneficial components of your life, because those are what are going to make or break you. And that's something to remember. With that being said, it's been No Life Ols here. I hope you liked the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And be sure to leave me any video suggestions that you may have or may want to see. And I'll see you in the next video. See ya.